welcome to the Beardworks podcast, episode 24, big finale, end of the year. Scad's gone.
Hey man, yeah, no, we're finally there. It's been about 6 months. Well, we've done it for 5 months now. So coming into this last little bit before Christmas, it's good to finally wind up and have a bit of a break.
Yeah, it's good to have some games to play. We had a drought for so long on shitbox, so it's good to have PS5, all the good shit.
Yeah, true. It's good to have those few new games out, and obviously there's some new ones on the horizon too. So keen to see those ones.
But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Just what we're playing at the moment. I'll kick it off. Finished Miles Morales. Did it in a couple of days, 100%. It's real short. But I think it's the city looks a bit more detailed and better than the first Spider-Man from 2018. I think it's 2018.
A bit more populated.
Yeah, it's a bit more populated. The snow makes it look more detailed. It just feels like the streets are busier because I went back today and just swung around in the first one and it definitely feels a bit more empty.
Okay, yep.
But still, they're both unreal. Miles Morales is wicked, but it feels like a DLC. It's like 5 hours long.
Oh yeah, awesome. I mean, in a way, I guess it's a bit of a letdown to have it be so short. But I think we discussed this before the PlayStation 5 was released that they were probably rushed for time to make Spider-Man Miles Morales because it probably wasn't in development as earlier on as what Sony probably wanted it to be, and so they probably just rushed it to get it together. Sorry, and to showcase what the visuals can be and the photo modes and all that kind of stuff on the PlayStation 5. So, I mean, it is a shame that it wasn't longer, but I mean, if it shows what's more to come from that kind of universe, it'd be pretty interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah, definitely there's going to be some more stuff coming from... We're definitely getting another Spider-Man game because I'm not going to spoil any of the story in that, but it's like every comic book movie always is leading into the next thing.
Gameplay-wise, how'd you feel? Was it any different from the original Spider-Man game, PS4 version?
It feels like you've got max swinging speed from the get-go. Miles seems a lot quicker than Peter. I guess it's because he's smaller, maybe a bit more lightweight, flick himself a bit more. And when you swing around as Peter... he's very solid. He knows what he's doing. He's been swinging for years. Miles is definitely like a noob at swinging. Like they even say he still feels a bit sick and getting used to swinging. So it's definitely a different swinging style, but yeah, it's definitely pretty fun to play. It's exactly like the movie, like the Spider-Verse. Like Miles swings the same as in the movie. It's pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and there was a lot of suits-wise from the first Spider-Man game. There was quite a lot to play with. What's it like in this Miles Morales version?
Yeah, there's a bunch. Pretty well stuck to his the classic suit, like the one he makes himself in the game. Because I know I'm weird with the suits, and even in the first Spider-Man, I only really used the advanced suit because I wanted all my cutscenes to look good. I didn't want a stupid suit on.
Yep.
And I feel like those suits are rendered a little bit better than the funny ones. So yeah, I just wanted the good looking cutscenes.
Yeah.
But I really liked the suit he starts with in this one. It's got his North Face jacket on and shorts under over his Spider-Man suit. It just because your jacket swings in the wind and this looks really cool. It looks realistic, and that's what you start the game with because it's the dead of winter. It's freezing in New York, snowing, and yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So did you play on performance mode or the visual mode?
No, I was on fidelity, so it's 30 frames a second with 4K. I like the fidelity a bit better because on the high frame rate one, it takes away a little bit of the motion blur around the edges when you're swinging, and I feel like that bit of motion blur off the buildings really immerses you in how fast you're actually going.
Yep.
I feel like it's a better experience playing in a lower frame rate but better quality with the motion blur.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
The best thing about this entire game is the photo mode. It's unreal. You've seen all the screenshots I've been sending. They're wild.
Yeah. It's probably... I mean, was there a photo mode in the original Spider-Man game?
I think so, but I don't think it was as in-depth as the Miles Morales one. In the Miles Morales one, it's like a full editing software. You can add lights to your scene, the aperture, the focal distance, everything.
Well, I think that's what they're trying to go for with the PlayStation 5 now, is that they're trying to make it all-in-one, like we've spoken about before, all-in-one capture device. And, now I think it's encouraging all the studios to produce a sort of photo mode. Because I say that Ghost of Tsushima had a really good photo mode, but in a PS5 kind of state would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I went and I was playing on photo mode today on God of War. It's definitely shit compared to the new gen. So PS4 ones are definitely not as good as the PS5 photo modes. They're heaps better in PS5, heaps more fleshed out.
Yep. No, that's fair to say. And I'd say the Spider-Man is so far, other than Demon Souls, probably one of the best looking games out at the moment. And yes, it may only be a short game, but you can get some pretty nice snapshots and gameplay whilst in that game. So I think it's overall a good addition with the new photo mode and, like I said, the capture stuff on the PlayStation for companies to do that kind of stuff, because it can sort of have people showcase their games for free, pretty much.
Yeah, between us, we've probably played every single launch title, and we can both agree that Spider-Man and Demon Souls is definitely the best looking games at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I find that Demon Souls is a real crisp and clean looking game, and it has, the captures you've sent through of those games of both Spider-Man and Demon Souls are pretty picturesque kind of stuff. And I mean, we'll get onto this shortly as well, with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That was been on my PC, so I've just been doing a bit of recording and screenshots through my PC gameplays of that, and that's still pretty good. But I definitely feel that the PlayStation has been optimized with its photo mode, or capture modes, I should say, and to upload it straight to Twitter. I don't feel like there's too much of an exchange of the quality. I feel like it's pretty accurate. Whereas I found the ones that I put up from PC a little bit less. They're probably a bit more pixelated, I should say.
Yeah, I think it's just because the screenshots on PS5, it's like capturing straight 4K image, and like when you put it to Twitter and stuff, you can it shows the low res version, but you can choose to load the 4K version on your phone, and that's the ones I've been sending, the 4K ones, and yeah, you can tell they don't lose any detail. The more you zoom in, they don't lose any detail. They're so crisp and sharp and detailed. Like you can zoom in on Miles's jacket and see every individual zipper part on his jacket. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. I like I said, I've seen the photos you've been putting up, and they are quite nice photos, showcasing what the PlayStation can do, really. But so overall, without giving away too much spoilers, what were your final thoughts on Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and do you think it's going in the right direction for a trilogy kind of climax game?
The game is really good, but it's got a lack of supervillains. The first one had all the cool villains. We need more villains. This one, when you play it, you'll understand what I mean by it feels like a DLC. It just needs some supervillains.
Yep. No, that's a pretty good point, really. I mean, obviously Miles Morales, he doesn't really have too many nemesis, I don't believe, in the comics. So I guess that's when Peter Parker will come back into it, and you might see a bit of a tag team in the next game where you can switch between the two characters, which would be kind of cool, I guess.
Oh, I'd definitely be Peter 90% of the time. I just think he's a more interesting Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, that's fair to say. But I mean, overall, I think it's worth a get. But I think we both agree that probably wait till maybe Christmas time or even Boxing Day to pick the game up.
Yeah, I only got it because I had stuff to trade. I paid $18. I got the Ultimate Edition, which has the 2018 one remastered and Miles Morales. So I was like, $18, it's no loss. And then I can just lend it to my friends or whatever.
Yep.
But it does have a similar theme to what you've been playing lately. Valhalla, both winter, both freezing cold games. How are you going with Valhalla? I know you've been loving it.
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't really speak about Odyssey much. Obviously, Odyssey had come out a long time before our podcast started, so we didn't really have a chance to talk about it. But I didn't really get into Odyssey. I've played a lot of hours of it, but it never captured me, and it always felt like it was a bit of a drag to get back to play it. But in saying that, Valhalla, yeah, I'm playing it on PC as well, and it feels a little bit fresh, I should say. Probably not the biggest changes, but I feel like it's a lot less clustered compared to the last few Assassin's Creed, where you got so much going on at once. But in this one, it feels a bit more toned down. So, yeah, I mean, my first impressions, I'm about, I think, probably 12 to 14 hours into it. And in saying that, hopefully I'll have some gameplay to show you, whoever's watching on YouTube right now as I speak. A bit of a raid on a village in one of the missions I played. So, but yeah, the overall gameplay is pretty simplistic. I get more excited about the interactions and the conversations that you have with other characters, not so much the combat.
Yeah, I loved Odyssey, but I do get what you're saying. It was very big, and it was a very jarring game to go through because there was just so much to do and so many people to talk to. That's why I'm excited for Valhalla. I'm going to play it after Cyberpunk, but yeah, you said it's a bit more back to basics for Assassin's Creed stuff, which I'm pretty keen for.
I think overall, as a story point so far, it's been a really interesting one. I've been finding that I want to do more missions and help out my sort of clan or my group as much as I can. It's got a very similar feel to Red Dead Redemption, where you have like your little group of people, and like not so much a town feeling or a village feeling, but you've got your little settlement that you need to upgrade and stuff like that. So that's a cool little drawing to the game, but that's probably the only similarities you can have between that and Red Dead. Other than that, there's nothing like Red Dead Redemption's 2. It's like slow pace, but the characters I find are very engaging, and the characters I've met so far from outside my original clan and my settlement, they're very interesting as well. So, and the little side stories make me want to go do them. It's not so much like, oh, you can go do this and get this so much coins or this kind of armor or this kind of weapon. In saying that, the weapons and armor are really well, how can I say it? Like, there's not as much around to get. Whereas Odyssey, you're getting something like every 2 or 3 minutes. So with Valhalla, it's very limited. Been saying that it's not, overhyped with so much. That's not the word for it, but having so much gear and stuff like that, it's very toned down.
Yeah, they've said that there's not as much loot in Valhalla, but the loot means more in Valhalla. Like, you get stuff, if you get something you like, you can upgrade that to endgame. You don't have to just use this next strongest thing. You can like take a weapon you really like and just like stick with it, upgrade it, make it the best it can be, which I really like. I'd rather have that than get flooded with shit loot 24/7, blue engrams.
Yeah, I would say that I haven't collected that much armor and weapons really. I've got pretty much, for the first 10 to 15 hours I've played so far, I've pretty much had the same armor. It's it's the DLC armor you get with buying like through Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called. You get like the ultimate editions of all the games that you download. And so I've got some like DLC armor on that I like to wear. It's just something different, bit more better stats. But the weapons I've got different weapons which are fun to use. But yeah, you can upgrade them and just keep using them if you like. I still haven't found my perfect play style yet. But yeah, in saying that, Valhalla's not a perfect game by all means. There's a lot of Ubisoft games that feel a bit not polished off these days when they get released. Legion, like Watch Dogs Legion, falls into that category where there's some bugs and some glitches and some funny actions that your character does. And Valhalla sort of suffers from that too. There's a few bugs that sort of creep in that you don't really notice until you get into like a really good combat scene. The lock-on mechanism sometimes plays up. And yeah, I've found that sometimes the combat is a bit clunky. But in saying that, like I said, I don't mind the combat. It's good. It's very similar to Odyssey. But I know for a fact that a lot of people that reviewed the game have said that the best kind of combat and finishes don't really come on till 25 to 30 hours in the game sometimes. So I just know I have to grind away and find that, weapon, or whether it be a weapon or a different kind of move or finisher. But in saying that, the skill tree is like massive, like huge. I just first it has 3, and then it just keeps expanding on those. There's multiple tiers to every one of them, and just keeps going and going and going. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard that Valhalla suffers a little bit in early game. Like, if you don't stick with it, like if you just get bored of it at the start, you're going to miss out on all the good stuff, because like you got to get like 10, 20 hours into it to unlock all the wicked stuff. Like, late game is where it really blossoms.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And like, I'm probably playing it not every night, but probably every second night. I'm probably playing for 1 to 2 hours, just getting like little bits of side missions done, because I feel like sometimes you can get invested into it and you just keep playing for hours on end and you chew up a lot of content. Whereas someone like myself, I work a fair bit and I only get a little bit of time to play video games. I like to enjoy it for that hour or 2 that I play. So I like to do 1 or 2 missions on Assassin's Creed, and I don't do too much exploring at the moment. It's more just go to my point, do my thing, and then if I find something on the way, I'll go have a look. Because I find that as soon as you start hunting for stuff all over the map, that's when you sort of like chew up a lot of hours. It's sort of like with, I guess you relate it to Ghost of Tsushima, where, you can sort of get lost finding all this stuff. But I find that Ghost of Tsushima is a bit more smooth in the transition to find that stuff compared to Valhalla.
But yeah, it does sound like Valhalla's a pretty dope game, to be honest. I'm pretty keen for it.
Yeah, if you like the last few Assassin's Creeds, then you'll definitely probably fall in love with it. I definitely find that the story's a little bit more compelling in this one. So I think that if you are a story-driven kind of gamer, that this is probably going to suit you pretty well. And like I said, the combat's cool. I think it's going to get better as I go along. But in saying that, I'm just really keen to see where the story goes next, interacting with my characters, building relationships. I think it's just a really cool game. I feel like the sort of Viking kind of vibe is pretty high and pretty good fun. So yeah, just overall really good experience so far, and it probably makes me want to go back and finish Odyssey, just because I found, I love Greek mythology, and I sort of probably let it slip a bit too easy without really pushing on with it. So one day I'll go back and play it once I've probably finished Valhalla. So, but I think that's enough about Assassin's Creed, because I want to talk about a game that we've already spoke about, which was last week, but you've eventually finished it, and you've also just done a speed run in one day, I think it was.
Yeah, all right. We're talking about how we love story-based games, and now we're going to talk about one that doesn't really have a story, but we still love it. Demon's Souls. Yeah, I did my first playthrough. I got up to probably 60% through the game, and I just spec'd my character like a retard. Like, I had like a samurai sword, but I had points in strength. Like, I messed up my stats early game, and it kind of ruined me for later game because you can't respec in Demon's Souls. So I had to finish my first playthrough. I had to summon. I got on Reddit and found this like OP dude with a dragon bone smasher, and I just summoned him in, and we just ran a train on every boss that I had left. But then after I did that, I was like, I didn't really play the game myself. I kind of bitched the last half of the game with this random. So then I got online, was looking up builds, like how can I start my playthrough properly. Found on the wiki this thing called the Blue Sentinel build, and holy shit. I started at 9 o'clock and probably finished at 1 o'clock the whole game. This sword, I was using the Demon Brand. You can't buff it. You can't like upgrade it at all when you get it, but you got to have pure white character tendency, and then you're just a god. I got, for example, I'll insert. I only didn't record much of this playthrough, but I got a couple boss fights I can put in our YouTube video. I did the Flame Lurker in like 3 or 4 hits, which is stupid if you know what the Flame Lurker is. Probably the hardest boss in Demon's Souls. Another boss that's really easy, don't matter what you're doing, but the Fool's Idol did it in a couple hits just because I was that strong. I reckon the hardest challenge I had in the game was running upstairs when there was like these squid things that just kept pushing me off with magic. Like it wasn't hurting me, it was just like it just knocks you back, and I was falling off. That was the hardest thing, not the bosses, nothing.
Insta-death, yeah.
Yeah, I was just running a train on everything. The last boss, it doesn't matter. He'd ran at me, dead, dead, dead. That was it. The Demon Brand, god tier weapon. If you're playing Demon's Souls and struggling, start a new character, start as a Temple Knight, go get the Demon Brand. You thank me.
So, I mean, now from you've had pretty much 2 different experiences now playing Demon's Souls. Which one did you have the most fun doing?
The first playthrough was really cool, seeing everything for the first time. It was unreal, but I was pushing shit uphill because, like, you know what a Souls game like. We've played them all. They are punishing. They're not forgiving. They destroy you. But it was so good to go back with a strong weapon and you be like the monster. Like, yeah, I just felt like Rorschach in Watchmen. You're stuck in here with me. Like, it was unreal. So I definitely had more fun in the second playthrough, like being strong, because I could go through the areas and explore without the fear of dying and then like not remembering how to get there or having to fight to get back to where I was. I could just explore.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool because, like I said, I haven't touched much on it since I played the first probably hour and a half, 2 hours. So pretty much just an entry into the game. But now you've sort of spoken about this, and there's ways you can sort of, not so much insta-kill things, but go out and then have a bit of fun and, not have to worry about stress and bad damage and stuff like that. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, overall, it sounds like Demon's Souls, it is sometimes worth the second playthrough if you can, spec your character out the right way. It can be different kind of fun.
It felt like I was cheating when I had a strong character because I was literally that strong. And because after you get the sword, because you don't need to put any points into strength or dexterity or whatever to use it, you just put all your skill points and like your levels into endurance, which is your stamina, and your health. So you just got like, you can unlimited run, you got so much health. So if you do get hit, you're not going to die in one shot. And it's just wicked. If I was going to play through it again, I was looking up other builds. There's called like a Soul Samurai or a Mage Samurai, which apparently Magic's really good in Magic's really strong in Demon's Souls, so that could be another OP run. But I've got a lot to play at the moment. I'm not doing Demon's Souls 3 times right now.
Yeah, give it a bit of a break. Yep. No, that's cool. I mean, it looks like I'm going to have to get back stuck into it, but I've got a bit of time off over Christmas and New Year, so I could probably smash that out. But in saying that, there's Cyberpunk and I'll probably get Spiderman around Christmas time too. So many games, so little time, if you know what I mean.
I'm so excited for the photo mode in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, yeah, that would be it will be interesting to see how that goes, really. But well, yeah, Cyberpunk's only is under a week away, so that's kind of cool. But speaking of another game that's sort of been out for a long time, but got a PS5 upgrade, and which I never played the first time around, which you did, Nick,
Yep.
was Borderlands 3. Now, this game, like Borderlands in general, everyone knows what it's like. It's a nice looking game. It's got its own, it's got its own kind of look. But yeah, I mean, the overall gameplay is pretty stock standard, I think. It's just more craziness, more wackiness, pretty much, of the guns and how many different variations there are. But the one thing I want to talk about is the look of the game compared to the PS4 version. And so the PS5 version is very, very clean. It's very nice. And me playing that for the first time compared to 4, I mean, I thought, yeah, this looks like a next-gen game. It feels like it was built for PS5. Whereas I went and watched a few comparison videos between the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Pro, and the PS5. And yeah, the difference is crazy. It's so clear, it's so crisp, and yeah, I have to tell you what, the guns feel so amazing on the DualSense controller.
Yeah, the DualSense really elevates any game you're playing on it. Like, yeah, I've said it. We said it when we first did the PS5 podcast. You think it's bullshit reading the reviews on the DualSense, but when you have one in your hands, it is mental.
Yeah, it changes the game, and like it changes your experience, and I felt that straight away. I feel like that I don't play Cold War on console. I play it on PC. I know that you guys have been playing it on there. I mean, I'm feeling the same. That I've seen some guys do a review on the DualSense controller using Call of Duty and like the adaptive triggers. Sorry, and doing that very similar to what Borderlands 3 is at the moment, where you can, you know, that you feel like you got a bit of resistance, and when you have to pull that trigger down really hard to get a certain gun to work. I feel like the rocket launcher is like you're going to break your controller sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a bit rage inducing, but yeah, you definitely got to try COD on with DualSense for sure.
Well, eventually, I think they're just going to release a Steam support for the controller, so that'll be pretty kind of cool. So you had to use it. Developers will be able to get access to the controls for DualSense and adapt it to their games that are coming out on Steam. So that's kind of cool. But just a quick overview. I'll have a little bit of gameplay with Borderlands as well. We're pretty much going to have a bit of gameplay with all of our games we've talked about today. So if you're on YouTube, I hope you're enjoying it. But yeah, so with the Borderlands, I mean, it's just an overview other than the feeling and the mechanics of the game on PS5. It's a pretty fun game. I mean, compared to the first two, I played the first one, never finished the second one. I just didn't get into it. I think I played it too late in the day, or so late in the game, I should say. But with the sort of PS5 upgrade, it sort of enticed me to play Borderlands 3, and yeah, I'm pretty happy I am. I've probably played about 6 or 7 hours of it now. Just playing, like I said before, with Valhalla, just an hour at a time, just doing a mission here and there. But yeah, I'm actually really enjoying Borderlands.
Yeah, it's definitely a good game to just like lose your mind in, just because it's just so funny and dumb. It's just run around, shoot big guns, just good chill game.
Yeah, it is fun. I have to admit, and yeah, obviously I wouldn't be playing if it wasn't fun. So yeah, that's a bit about Borderlands. But yeah, there's another game that's on the horizon, and we've mentioned it earlier, which was Cyberpunk. It's under a week away now. I'm hella excited. I don't know about you, Nick, but are you getting it day one?
Yeah, I've pre-ordered. I'll get it day one. I didn't think I was going to play it day one because I had Demon Souls and Spiderman. I thought they were going to take me through for a while, but I blitzed them, man. I got nothing to play at the moment. I finished Cold War campaign. I finished Spider-Man. I finished Demon Souls, and I did God of War 3 remaster. Like, I've just been hammering it because I haven't been working as much the last week. So I've just been hammering games, but...
You finished God of War 3 remaster already?
Yeah, that game's short. That's like 5 hours, 6 hours. Yeah.
Damn, I saw you only just starting it the other day.
Yeah, I just haven't been working as much. I've only worked 2 days in the last week, but Cyberpunk's going to come out and I'm probably going to get hammered because Christmas at our shop, it's just order central, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be mental. I'm going to be there every day. But, yeah.
It's going to be really interesting, so I'm really keen to see what happens and how good it is. I hope it just lives up to the hype, really, and that it can drag you out for a long time. If they're saying they can don't quote me on this. Well, actually, you can quote them on this. CD Projekt Red that The Witcher 3 was just a warm up for this. So I'm hoping it's damn good.
Yeah, I hope Cyberpunk doesn't like get cursed with hype. That kills a lot of games. You think it's going to be too good, and it's never going to be as good as you want.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. I guess, like I said, it's under a week away, so not long to wait now. But yeah, really chuffed and can't wait. Can't wait to play that game. Obviously, still got a lot of other games to play at the same time, so yeah, should be fun. But yeah, that's pretty much from our gaming news side of things. I don't think there's too much else that we wanted to talk about in gaming. I'm just trying to think if there's anything important that we need to talk about, but I think we pretty much covered everything at the moment. Obviously, over December, we'll have a lot more games to play and have time to play them, I should say. And that will probably set us up for the start of next year. So let's just talk about a few other small gaming, not gaming news, but like probably other little news that people may not have been aware of. But anybody that loves Supernatural would have known that the series finale happened last week. And it was an emotional one. Without any spoilers, Nick, what'd you think on the ending?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good ending. I think it was fitting for the show. Worked out well.
Yeah. To see how they finished up, I should say. I don't want to ruin anything for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. It's a bit of a full circle kind of thing, and it's a sad ending for some of the characters, but in a way it's also a good one because they're very tired characters. They've been around for a long time now, and it's time they rest. You know what I mean?
Well, I remember I was watching Supernatural in primary school, and I'm like almost finished uni now. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I remember watching probably the first season of Supernatural when I was in high school, and I remember I was staying around my friend's house, and I'd been watching Supernatural every week, and I said, "Can we watch it at his house?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." But he had night terrors, so his mum actually told us to turn it off because otherwise he wouldn't get any sleep.
Was that Pap?
No, it wasn't Pap, unfortunately. It would be funny if it was.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like him.
But yeah, overall, Supernatural was a great series, and I'm one of those big believers that I think it probably should have finished after season 5. That's a long time ago, so I'm hoping people, if you're happy to be spoiled by season 5, it's just, I think it was a good ending with Sam taking Lucifer to hell and Dean going on living his life. I thought that was a really good finish, but then within the same episode finale, bloody Sam's sitting outside the house and underneath a lamp, and under a street lamp, and I was like, oh, that didn't last too long.
Yeah, Supernatural had a lot of endings and a lot of beginnings, I felt. Like, 'cause I was a few seasons behind because I just lost interest, but I rewatched the last episode, and yeah, it was good, but Supernatural had a lot of up and downs. You can see the writing team just went through a lot of head spins trying to get that series finished.
Well, we both agree that Supernatural was at its best when it just had random episodes. No, like, obviously it was one after the other, as in story-driven. Like, if they had injuries in that first episode, like, it'd be a few weeks after the second episode where they'd face the next kind of evil. But, yeah, as soon as it got into, like, an overarching story, and then every episode was, like, demons and angels and like leviathans at some stage and other, it was just so much, and God, like, I just felt that there's individual episodes where they just had like an evil, like they were tracking down, did an investigation, eventually killed off whatever was haunting or hurting people. That was some of the best writing and some of the best character development I'd seen for a long time.
Yeah, it suffered from the same thing X-Files did. X-Files was at its best when each week Mulder and Scully had a new case, and they would go out and like, oh, this week's a haunted ghost ship, next week's an alien, this week's like a mutant. Like, Supernatural was so much better when it was just every week was a new quest, a new hunt. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much good, I guess, finish up for Supernatural, really. And this is the one thing I want to talk about at the end of it, that somebody told me there was rumours about them rebooting it, and that, you know, the boys would be back to reprise their roles, but starting off from the start again, but maybe doing a different take on it. I think it's time that you just give it a rest for a long while. And, you know, both those actors, Jensen and Jared, played just their Sam and Dean to an absolute T. By the end of it, we felt like that's every time you see them in a movie that you felt like they should have been badasses all the time.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be typecast as Sam and Dean for the rest of their careers, I reckon. That's, yeah, but not a bad thing. Sam and Dean are good characters, but yeah, if they reboot it, it's going to be shocking.
Yeah, I think they just give it a rest for a little while. You know, I spoke about this early in the week with that. Jensen Ankles are going into The Boys season 3. So
As Soldier Boy.
it'd be good to see him in that. Yeah. It sounds really funny when you say it out loud like that. But yeah, I mean, I won't spoil anything, but I finished season 2 of The Boys and you're yet to finish it yet. So one day we'll talk about it. But man, there is just so much bloodshed.
Yeah.
Oh man, there were some crazy scenes in that series. Sorry, I should say season 2. So keen to see what they do in season 3 and where they go next. But yeah, I mean, I think he'd be perfect for a role. I sort of read a little bit about his character that he'll be playing. This is Jensen Ackles we're talking about, his character. So yeah, keen to see where that goes. But yeah, I'm just having a look through now Twitter feed and see if there's anything that's jumping up. I know there's something big that we could probably talk about if people are up to date with The Mandalorian, but I mean, it's all over the world at the moment. But one of your favorite characters from Star Wars Rebels as well, isn't she?
Yeah, Clone Wars and Rebels, Ahsoka. Anakin's apprentice. She's unreal.
Yeah. So have you seen the episode?
Yeah. I wake up every Saturday morning watching in my bloody undies.
So it's pretty cool to see her in live action kind of mode.
Yeah, because she's like a little bit different to a normal Jedi. She's a bit of an offsider to the Jedi and the Sith because of what happened with her and Anakin at the end of like Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, she uses white lightsabers and the hilts are they look like samurai sword handles. Like she's got like a real cool style.
Yeah,
bit unique. I like it.
Oh, that's cool. For anyone that's listening, I am far behind in The Mandalorian. I'm only halfway through season 1, but obviously you can't escape spoilers these days because Twitter and Facebook and even YouTube, you only need a glimpse, especially of people posting vids. Yeah, they got a lot of clickbait. So unfortunately, you get caught off guard a lot of the time.
Do you know what Baby Yoda's name is?
It starts with a G.
Yeah, Grogu.
Grogu or something?
Yeah.
Grogu, yeah.
And apparently he was around for Order 66. He was alive. Who got him out of the Jedi Temple? That's what I want to know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. So Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever his name is, species, they live for like centuries on centuries. Like Yoda's so old in the the original trilogy.
Yoda died at 900.
So he may look like a kid, but he might have been around a long time. So I think that's sort of where the Mandalorian probably gets, or Mando, I should say, gets a bit confused. Especially in season 1, he's just a kid, but yeah, he has like these extremely powerful Jedi powers.
I just Googled it. Apparently Grogu is 50 years old. So he'd be just younger than Luke. So he was probably born.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe does the timeline work out?
I honestly don't know.
Oh no, yeah, no, he's definitely older than Luke because this is set just after Return of the Jedi. So Luke could be like 30 at this point. So
yeah.
Baby Yoda would have been like 20 years old when 66 went off. Yeah. I don't know. It's Star Wars timelines are hectic.
No, that's fair enough. There's a lot to do with Star Wars and stuff, but I have to admit, I remember Pat was saying that The Mandalorian is like one of the best series he's ever watched.
Oh yeah, it's definitely really good. I think I preach to the end. I love all the Star Wars movies, even the newest trilogy, because everyone hates them. I love them still. But I reckon Mandalorian's better than the new trilogy.
Well, people were saying, can't they just cancel the Rey trilogy and just have the Mandalorian trilogy or something like that?
Oh, I just want an Old Republic trilogy.
Something way before would be so nice. I think definitely, obviously, D&D from Game of Thrones, the ones that ruined season 8 and even season 7. They were put on to get ready to organise a trilogy of the Old Republic movies, but then they dropped out of it, I think, like that. So
good.
Don't know where that's going. But all I know is that I could probably write a script better than what they can at the moment. So just a shout out to Disney. I'm willing and able to write you a script for a trilogy.
Yeah,
I have a really cool idea. But yeah, no, it's really cool. What they need to do though is just do Star Wars stories and have an alternate universe and have Starkiller in it.
Oh, they just need, if you want $1 million, not $1 million, you want $1 billion, Disney, make a Darth Malgus movie. There you go. There's $1 billion. You're welcome.
Well, they've got so much lore in Star Wars. They can go back in time a bit and just do one-shot movies, sort of like what Solo was, and what was Rebels? No,
Rogue
Rebels. One. Bloody Rogue One. like they could do those with old movies, and they don't have to do a bunch of movies tied in where actors have to commit to multiple films. Like Darth Revan, you know,
Oh yeah, the bloody
just
Sith that got amnesia and then the Jedi brainwashed. Dual wields red and purple lightsabers.
yeah.
Fwah.
Like there's potential there. Like if they want to make, obviously they've gone with this Star Wars trilogy, like the latest one, and it probably didn't work out the way they wanted it to. But the one thing I liked, and I saw a screenshot, like I said, I haven't seen the episode, but Ahsoka says, he has, like they're talking about Baby Yoda saying how he's powerful and it'll take him a while to master his skills. And then has Ray looks at like the camera looking funny because like it's like a meme, obviously.
Yeah.
Because obviously Ray is just like gifted whatever she chooses to do. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess Rey and Kylo were a little bit different though than a normal Force user because they're like the dyad thing. Like they're super strong compared to a normal Force user because they like feed off each other. But still, it's a bit stupid.
Yeah, yeah. It was a bit convoluted, that whole last trilogy, and yeah, there's nothing. It's a real shame that they had the original trilogy, actors, unfortunately, be involved with something that's probably not a great way to finish a series or, Star Wars story, I guess, the Skywalker saga. But I mean, that's just one thing I have a little grow up with. It's not everyone's the same thoughts. So, but I mean, obviously, I think everyone agrees that the Mandalorian is some of the best Star Wars content that's around at the moment, and probably will ever be eventually.
This latest episode, when we finally get to see a Force user like Ahsoka and like her history, this actually feels like proper Star Wars because Mandalorian suffers a little bit from just being like an action sci-fi, but now we're actually getting some of the Force stuff, like the actual good shit in Star Wars. And Ahsoka was trained by Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, you can't have better mentors.
I think the way you look at it is that most of the time when you associate with a Star Wars film, it's always the major events in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And some of the coolest stuff is the stuff that's done elsewhere in the galaxy when there's not such a giant battle going on for the whole universe. Because all the movies that we've seen, it's like do or die. If the good guys lose, the bad guys win, and that's the fate of the universe. Whereas these stories with the Mandalorian are a lot more smaller, in saying that it's good to have someone that's not a Force user like Mando, to follow him when he's just like his talents are just being a bounty hunter kind of thing compared to wielding a lightsaber. In saying that, I'm really keen to see if Ahsoka gets into some kind of lightsaber action, what kind of dueling there's going to be, because obviously in the movies they've done a bit flashier. If you look back in the original trilogy, the prequels, it's a lot of like dancing kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like an art form. And then you've got, the original trilogy where it's just like a real emotional driven battle. It's not like clean, moves. It's like, coming down with heavy hits and stuff like that. And then they sort of went in the middle, I would say, of the new trilogy where there were some really nice, clean battles. But, like it also showed like, when characters got hit, it wasn't just like, one-shot kills. It's like, it scarred the crap out of them and stuff like that.
I still love the fighting in the prequels. I think it's like the height of the Republic is when the Jedi are at their strongest. And they were all so highly trained. They were all masters of the sword. I love the flashy fights and that. I
think each one of them tells a different story. And we can go on this about another time. But like I said, the emotional battle in the original trilogy every time Luke and Darth Vader were on screen together, it was an emotional battle. And, and obviously one of the coolest things I found about the original trilogy was that, the Return of the Jedi was never about Luke. It was about Anakin becoming good again. Like it was from Darth Vader turning back into Anakin. That was one of the coolest things I found because, people think, it's all about Luke becoming the final Jedi. No, it's about him bringing his father back to the good and defeating the Sith. So that's the one thing, once the one gripe I had connected to the new trilogy is that, Palpatine never died. And so Anakin never brought balance to the Force, even though that was his destiny. It was raised, like, they just sort of like, redlined it and said, no, actually, we're going to make it. Rey's, she's the final one to save the universe.
Yeah, it's strange, man. Star Wars has done a lot of weird stuff. But after you watch Mando, you should definitely watch Star Wars Rebels because I probably think Rebels is one of the best bits of Star Wars content you can watch, man. Because you said you like the emotional fights and the stuff that has meaning. That's all of Rebels.
Yeah. Well, I've seen bits and pieces of battles and they look pretty nice. Um, yeah, I'm pretty keen to go back and watch more Star Wars. I do have Disney Plus now, so I'm watching a lot more Disney content. Um, but yeah, but just one more thing. I thought about this the other day, and I just want to get your opinion on it. And we actually this has something we can talk about gaming. We can tie it back in. Lord of the Rings. There's a new MMO or RPG coming out in the next few years. Apparently, rumored. They're not sure what it's going to be. Whether it be like massively on multiplayer online or like an RPG kind of thing. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully, it's the latter, and it's more of an RPG, and we can play co-op, kind of like open, not so much open world, but like open areas. But so we love Lord of the Rings. Like we'll tell you at the end of the day, that's one of the best trilogies ever.
Yep.
And this is I want to do a quick comparison, which is between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and visual effects, because The Hobbit was like the story was okay, but the way they created their characters was absolutely terrible. Like the orcs looked absolutely rubbish compared to practical effects or practical makeup and stuff like that from the original trilogy, where they actually dressed people up and put all this stuff on their skin to make them look like these ravaged beasts of orcs. They look so cool and so realistic compared to what we see in the new Hobbit. Well, not to say new, but the Hobbit trilogy, where it's just all like visual effects now. It looks so bad compared to if you compare the two side by side.
Well, Lord of the Rings, it was real. When they were fighting an orc, they were fighting a person. Like, the interactions were so much more real. Like, what about when they dig the Uruk-hai out of those pits? That's someone in the dirt getting dug out. That's real. Like, that's why it looks so believable and looks awesome, because it's not VFX. It's practical effects.
I watched The Hobbit late. Pretty much The Hobbit 1 and 2 were out by the time, and the third one was just about to be released by the time I started watching the first one. And I watched the first two in one weekend just because I was so keen to see what happens next. But for some reason, I just didn't. It sounds a bit. I don't know how to say it, but like watching dwarfs fight is just not as exciting as watching soldiers fight, if you know what I mean. Like Men of Gondor or Rohan or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's like the best things in The Hobbit is when Legolas and the ginger chick are fighting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to talk about, because when Lord of the Rings came up, I started watching some more of the emotional and the cool battles in Lord of the Rings, and then I started watching a bit of the Hobbit stuff, and I was comparing the two side by side. I was like, when I watched the movies like the Hobbit live, I was like, oh man, these orcs look terribly, like the CGI is terrible. Like, what's going on here? Why are they doing this when they've proven in Lord of the Rings that visual effects and practical effects work so much better? They look so much more realistic compared to what I was seeing in The Hobbit. And that's just one thing I wanted to bring up with you, and thought, how can people think that The Hobbit even compares to Lord of the Rings? Not so much visually, I should say a lot visually, but also story-wise. I don't know. The cool, like, Smaug is cool, like the dragon. But other than that, like, I love the Lord of the Rings feels so much cleaner and so much nicer and easy, and it's so much an easier story to follow.
Yeah, it's because the Hobbit book's so short. There's one book, 3 movies. It's retarded. Like, I don't know why they've done it like this. It's stupid. But like, I watched the Hobbit movies every year on Boxing Day with my mate. It was just a tradition when they came out. We watched them every year. But it's been years since they've come out now. I've only rewatched the Hobbit once since they come out. And the only time I've rewatched it was when I had a big uni assignment. I had them on in the background as I was typing. Like,
yeah.
But I've watched Lord of the Rings, like, I probably watch Lord of the Rings once a year, all of it.
Yeah. Well, Lord of the Rings is one of the greatest, and I spoke about this earlier, but one of the greatest trilogies ever, like compared to the Dark Knight as well, the Star Wars trilogies.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison to Lord of the Rings to Dark Knight. Lord of the Rings crushes it in every single aspect and capacity.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like the Dark Knight itself is still a good trilogy.
Yeah.
Or superhero trilogy, really. Anyway. But yeah, that's why I just want to get your thoughts on that, because I was looking at it earlier in the week, and obviously we spoke about the new Lord of the Rings game coming out. So I'm glad that we're both on the same page about that. I think a lot of people would be as well. But other than that, I mean, we've talked about games, a bit about movies and stuff like that. I don't think there's any other much gaming news that we could talk about other than Cyberpunk's next week. But I think we should just probably round it off there. And in saying that, I guess we could say have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, final one for the year pretty well. We don't really have much to talk about. There's Cyberpunk coming, but we'll save that for Season 2 opening. Will just be a big Cyberpunk video, I reckon.
Yeah, I think the plan is, for everyone listening at the moment, is that we're going to have December off now and we're going to focus on starting up again in January. So yeah, pretty much this is concluding Season 1 and we'll be starting Season 2. With the start of Season 2, we'll be looking at upping our quality, I guess you could say, on our audio, as well as probably just making our YouTube channel a bit more, with a more, well, I shouldn't say make more, I don't really know the word for it, but have a bit more of a personal touch from the both of us. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. We're going to do some stuff in the on this off season that we're about to have. In saying that, we are planning on having an Instagram set up for our the Beardworks podcast. So people that can go along there, we are planning to. Well, I'm planning. I haven't spoken to Nick about this yet, so this will be a reveal for you too, Nick. We can actually make little snippets and have like a little highlight and put on our Instagram through our who we release our episodes through. So that can be like a little snippet and a little preview of what's to come each week for our episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're working hard. We're working hard to try and get our stuff to better quality, I should say. In saying that, I think we've done pretty well for our first season.
Oh yeah, 24 episodes. It's been pretty fun, but yeah, be interesting to see how it goes next year.
It's been a grueling one.
Yeah. But
yeah, all we can say is that, yeah, just do the usual. Just, follow us where you can on Twitter. Check us out on YouTube as well. And yeah, just keep listening to us whatever you're listening to us right now. So all I can say is thank you for everyone that's tuned in for this first season from us. And we hope you've bared with our technical difficulties and our learning curves and stuff like that. But we do endeavor to be better every time. So thank you from me. Nick, any last words?
Listen to us with your families over Christmas. Give us some more view time, you dogs.
Yeah, that's a nice way to say it, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, just a little snippet, and this little one. We are planning doing, I'm planning on doing a little bit of gameplay, my first impressions of Cyberpunk, which will be just up on our YouTube channel. So anyone that's listening through their podcasting apps, check us out on YouTube as well. There'll be video only on the YouTube channel at some stage, probably just sometime in December. Chuck up a 10-minute video, just me talking about it. So I'm sure Nick will have a bit of an input as well at some stage with some gameplay. So just anyways, yeah, thanks for tuning in and thanks for getting us started on our podcasting careers, I guess.